Hi, Team Gerwell. You are flipping in fifth with me, Mrs. G. Today we're talking about Topic 8, Lesson 4, and our learning target is I can use the order of operations to evaluate expressions with whole numbers and decimals. The vocabulary words I need you to make note of tonight. First of all, evaluate an expression. That's just a fancy finger word for to solve it. Order of operations, that's the order of how you evaluate an expression. Remember yesterday when my dear Aunt Sally subbed for me and you learned all about order of operations? Well, here they are again. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Go ahead and write that into your notes, and that will remind you that first you'll do parentheses, then exponents, then multiply, then divide, then add, and finally subtract. So here's our problem of the day. This is a problem that we need to evaluate, which means we need to solve it. So what are we going to do first? Well, the first thing we're going to remember is our order of operations. These are called brackets. Brackets are also a type of parentheses. Brackets just are letting you know that it's all of this is grouped together, and there's another grouping inside of it surrounded by parentheses. So we're going to start by doing the innermost parentheses. So 3 6/10 divided by 6/10. So remember how we divide when we have a decimal in both the divisor and the dividend. We're going to leapfrog over to make it a whole number and do the same thing on the other side. So then we're going to end up with 36 divided by 6, which is 6. So we have now solved this parentheses part, so we can just forget about it, and we're just going to bring the rest of the problem down to evaluate. Now we need to decide, what do we do next? Well, we have another pair of brackets, which is parentheses, so obviously we do that first. So 2 plus 6 is 8, and then we'll just bring down the rest of the expression. So now we need to decide, are we going to multiply first or are we going to subtract? So we're going to look over here. We're done with our parentheses. We don't have any exponents, but we will multiply next. So 3 2/10 times 12 is 38 4/10, and then we'll just bring down the rest of the expression. So now the only thing we have left to do is subtract. So 38 4/10 subtract 8 is 30. So the answer to this problem of the day is 30. Now here's a different type of problem. As you can see, this time we have a variable in our expression. And the variable in this case is standing in for x equaling 9 5/10. Excuse me. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put 9 5/10 in where it says x, and then rewrite the rest of the expression. So that's what we've done here. So now again, we look at our order of operations, and we know that because we have brackets here, we're going to do the parentheses inside the brackets first. So our first thing we're going to look at is 9 5/10 minus 3 5/10, which equals 6. And then we're going to bring down the rest of the expression. So now what do we do next? Do we have any more parentheses? Well, here we do, but remember the reason that the parentheses are backed up next to the number is because when we have expressions like this, if we use x, it might get confused as being a variable instead of multiplying. So 6 parentheses 6 means that we're multiplying. But no matter what, we're doing what's inside of this bracket first. So 6 times 6 is 36. Then we'll bring down the rest of the expression. Now what do? Do we divide first or do we add first? Well, we're done with the parentheses. We don't have any exponents. We don't have anything to multiply. So the next thing we would do would be divide. So 36 divided by 12 is 3. Bring down the rest of the expression. And now the only thing we have left to do is 3 plus 4 2/10. And that answer is 7 2/10. Now it's your turn to try. Go ahead and try to work on tonight's practice problems. You can replay the video if it helps you. Remember, in problem number 2 and problem number 4, it actually tells you what to insert, what number to insert for x, or the variable in problem 2. And here, this is for y, the variable in problem 4. And then problem number 5, I just want you to answer using your words. How are brackets like parentheses? Go ahead and stop the video and come back for the answers in just a minute. Okay, here come the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here are the answers for tonight's practice problems. Go ahead and pause the video and check them to see if they're the same answers as yours. If not, remember, this is just practice, and tomorrow we'll go over it in small groups. So please make sure you've checked your work and you wrote how many you got correct. Be honest, this isn't for a grade. Honestly, fill out the self-reflection. Could you teach a friend, or are you still confused? And then fill in the space for any questions you still have. I hope you have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.